Two men posing as HOA inspectors had been terrorizing neighborhoods, intimidating homeowners, and robbing them blind. Their scam was flawless, until they knocked on the wrong door. Confident in their con, they flashed fake badges and demanded entry, unaware that the man inside was a federal agent. What unfolded next was a masterclass in justice, and their scheme unraveled in the most explosive way possible. Stick around to see how these crooks got what they deserved. You won't believe the twist. It began with a knock. Not a casual tap, but 3 sharp, commanding pounds that echoed through the house, rattling the windows. James Harper, standing in his kitchen, froze mid-sip of his coffee. The mug trembled in his hand. Too early for visitors. Too early for anything. His first thought, maybe it's Mrs. Jenkins from down the street, griping about his car parked an inch too close to her driveway. Or that neighbor obsessed with his pristine lawn, always preaching about community standards. Then came the voice, cold and authoritative. Homeowners Association inspection. Open the door. James's blood ran cold. HOA? He didn't live in an HOA. That was the whole point of buying this house: freedom from petty fines, nosy clipboard warriors, and rules about how long his trash can could sit curbside. Something was wrong. Setting his mug down with a soft clink, he moved silently to the front door, avoiding the sidelight window. Years as a federal agent had drilled one rule into him: observe before you act. Through the peephole, he saw them, 2 men in matching navy polos, HOA inspector, stitched in bold white letters. Khaki pants, badges clipped to their belts. But the badges looked cheap, like props from a costume shop. The tall one, with slick blonde hair, stood rigid, mirrored sunglasses hiding his eyes. He looked like an actor unsure of his lines. The shorter one, sporting a thick mustache, puffed out his chest, itching for a fight. James's gut screamed, fraud. HOA has no jurisdiction here. James called through the door, his voice steady but sharp. A pause. Blondie glanced at Mustache, waiting for a cue. Then Mustache stepped forward, lowering his voice to sound intimidating. Sir, this is a mandatory safety inspection. Open the door, or we'll enter under HOA's Security Division authority. James nearly laughed. Security Division? That was their mistake, escalating a scam into a federal crime. Most people would have cracked the door, asked questions, maybe let these frauds step inside. But James wasn't like most people. He was a federal agent, and they just threatened illegal entry under pretenses. His pulse quickened, but his training kept him calm. You got a warrant? He asked, voice like steel. Silence. Blondie's arms tightened across his chest. Mustache blinked too fast, then scoffed. Sir, we don't need a warrant under HOA bylaws. That was it. James flipped the lock and swung the door open. The impostors froze. For the first time, they saw him clearly, not a confused homeowner, not a retiree they could bully, but a federal agent. Badge in one hand, gun holstered on his hip, eyes unyielding. And just like that, they knew they'd picked the wrong house. The air crackled with tension. Blondie's jaw twitched, his sunglasses failing to hide his widening eyes. Mustache swallowed hard, his fingers twitching at his sides. James saw it, the flicker of panic, the split-second debate, fight or flee. Mustache recovered first, raising his hands slightly, not surrendering, just buying time. This is a misunderstanding, he said, voice forced. We're just doing a safety check. James stepped forward, slow and deliberate. Blondie instinctively backed up, his shoulder hitting the porch railing. No escape. Impersonating an official is a federal crime, James said, his tone flat, factual. Where'd you get the badges? Blondie's mouth snapped shut. Mustache shifted, hesitating. Liars always overthink. Blondie exhaled sharply. Sir, we... Wrong answer. James's hand moved behind his back. The metallic clink of handcuffs shattered the morning silence. Mustache's hand darted to his waistband, a gun. James's training kicked in. His pistol was out and aimed before Mustache's fingers grazed the grip. "Don't!" James barked, the word a thunderclap. Mustache froze, fingers trembling an inch from the weapon. Blondie's hand shot up, palms out, his breath ragged. "Drop it!" James ordered, unwavering. "I won't say it again." A heartbeat passed. Mustache's shoulders slumped, and the gun clattered to the porch. Blondie let out a shaky breath, his composure crumbling. They weren't facing a homeowner. They were facing prison. 15 minutes later, James's front yard was a circus. Squad cars, flashing lights, officers moving with practiced precision. Blondie and Mustache, cuffed and defeated, sputtered excuses as they were shoved into patrol cars. "This is a misunderstanding," Blondie pleaded, his voice cracking. Mustache tried a different angle, eyes wide with fake innocence. "We didn't mean harm." The officer's response was curt. "Tell it to the judge." The truth unraveled fast. These weren't overzealous HOA wannabes. They were part of a month-long scam targeting vulnerable homeowners. Posing as inspectors, they'd con their way into dozens of homes, stealing jewelry, cash, electronics, anything they could flip. They preyed on the elderly, single parents, and new homeowners too scared to question authority. By the time victims realized they'd been robbed, the duo was long gone, laughing to their next mark. Thousands of stolen goods, countless lives disrupted. Until today. A young officer, notepad in hand, turned to James with a grin. "You got lucky." James smirked, glancing at Blondie, slumped in the patrol car, staring into oblivion. "They're the ones who got unlucky." 3 weeks later, James sat in a courtroom, arms crossed, as the final act played out. The air was heavy, the silence broken only by the rustle of the judge's papers. Blondie and Mustache sat at the defense table, their cocky facades gone. Blondie's knuckles were white, gripping the table. Mustache hunched forward, grimacing, bracing for the inevitable. The judge, a stern man with silver-rimmed glasses, spoke. "For multiple felony counts, fraud, breaking, impersonating officials, and attempted assault, 15 years each." The words landed like a gavel. Blondie's breath hitched, his jaw trembling. Mustache's head dropped, silent, defeated. No plea deals. No escape. 15 years in federal prison for a scam that had worked until they knocked on James's door. As bailiffs cuffed them, Blondie glanced at Mustache, lips moving, but no words came. The clink of handcuffs echoed as they were led away, their futures erased. James watched, feeling no pity, just the cold satisfaction of justice. These weren't petty thieves. They were predators, banking on fear and trust, exploiting people too scared to question. How many had let them in? How many lives had they ruined? They'd counted on that fear, and it worked, until James. Their mistake was simple, bad luck. They'd chosen the one house where their lies wouldn't hold. And now they'd pay. What do you think? Was James's reaction justified, or should he have handled it differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get the debate going. Share this story if you love seeing justice served, and tell us, have you ever dealt with someone pretending to be something they're not? Hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat.